On our wedding day, my fiancée left me at the altar. She was running off with her ex-boyfriend. I begged her to stay, told her that if she left, I would die. She just looked annoyed. Julian is the one who's dying. What is there to fight over with him? Besides, she said, her voice laced with a cruel certainty, you have no choice but to wait for me. She knew. She knew I was a player in this world, bound by the system to love her, to give her everything. But she'd forgotten the one critical rule. A player who fails their challenge is erased. The moment Clara wrenched her hand from mine, a voice echoed in my mind. Challenge failed. Erasure countdown initiated. 3, 2, 1. A spray of blood erupted from my mouth, and an agony I'd never known ripped through me. I fought to keep my eyes open, hoping, praying that Clara would have a change of heart. That, at the very least, she wouldn't have to live with the regret of not even being there for my last breath. I remembered the last time something like this had happened. To prove my commitment to staying in this world with her, I defied the system and was punished with a brutal, debilitating illness. Clara had held my hand for 3 days and nights, never once closing her eyes. I tried to joke with her then. What if I really die one day? Her eyes had instantly filled with tears, her voice shaking with fury. Don't you ever say that. That will never happen. I'm watching you always. If you die, I won't want to live either. I was terrified of what my death would do to her. The image of her tear-streaked face was seared into my memory. But the woman standing before me now was a stranger. She watched me collapse, a cold sneer on her lips. Using fake items from the system store to get sympathy again? God, Ethan, you're pathetic. It was true the system store had all sorts of props and items, but I had only ever used my points to buy quirky little gadgets to make her laugh. I had always believed in winning her over honestly, heart for heart. I had never once deceived her. To think that in her eyes, I was just some manipulative schemer. My very real death was nothing more than a cheap ploy for pity. Don't go. Clara. My throat was clogged with blood. I couldn't even say her name. The press, invited to cover our celebrity wedding, swarmed forward, their cameras flashing relentlessly. The last thing I saw before my vision faded to black was the image of Clara and Julian, their fingers intertwined, walking away from me without a backward glance. After my body died, the system forced my consciousness to remain by Clara's side. A final punishment for my ultimate transgression, falling in love with my target. It wanted me to experience the full measure of her betrayal. But I couldn't believe it. Not completely. The woman who had begged me to stay, whose entire world I had become, couldn't be this cruel. Then she brought Julian to a sleek, downtown penthouse. Clara, this place is incredible, Julian said, his arm linked through hers as he sat on the custom-made sofa I had designed myself. A bitter laugh escaped my spectral form. Of course it was incredible. I had poured 3 years of my soul into this place, crafting every detail of our sanctuary, our future home. The intertwined monogram, C&E, was subtly etched into fixtures and carved into woodwork throughout the apartment. All because she once whispered she wanted a home that was uniquely ours. Just yesterday, when I'd given her the keys, her eyes had shimmered with tears of joy. She'd thrown her arms around me, her voice thick with emotion as she promised, I will never let you down. The words were still echoing in my ears, yet here she was, cuddling with another man in the home I built for us, whispering sweet nothings. It's just an apartment, Clara said, waving a dismissive hand as she pulled the keys from her purse and tossed them to Julian. If you like it, it's yours. She said it like she was throwing away a piece of trash, just like the wedding dress she'd thrown out, the one I'd secretly designed for her. She knew how much of myself I had poured into that dress. I'd used every lunch break for months, sketching and consulting with the designer, just so I could give her a surprise, so she could walk down the aisle in a gown made of my love. The long hours had wrecked my health, giving me stress-induced ulcers that would leave me doubled over in pain for days. I'd even told her I was on a business trip once, when I was actually in the hospital for 2 weeks. My assistant, Leo, had accidentally let it slip later. She'd asked me then if it was all worth it. I remember weakly lifting my hand to brush her hair from her face. For you, I'd told her, anything is worth it. She'd laughed and called me a fool. Now, hearing her voice, the same sound held a completely different, chilling indifference. Besides, she continued, her tone dripping with smug confidence, all I have to do is snap my fingers, and Ethan will come crawling back like a puppy, ready to hand me the world on a silver platter. She said it so casually, so certain of her power, reducing a decade of my devotion to nothing. She'd forgotten the deeply insecure girl she used to be, the one who flinched at every loud noise. It was my 10 years of unwavering care that had transformed her into the decisive, powerful CEO of the Sullivan Group. Julian's eyes darted up to a small security camera in the corner of the ceiling, a triumphant smirk playing on his lips. And where do I stand in your heart? Clara didn't hesitate for a second. You're the moon and the stars, Julian. He can't even compare. With that single sentence, my entire life's devotion became a punchline. I clutched at my chest. Apparently, even when you're dead, your heart can still break. The hospital's call went to Clara's phone. A few moments ago, after failing to resuscitate me, the doctors had officially declared me dead. My emergency contact was and only ever had been her. A knot of panic formed in my ghostly stomach. If she found out I was really dead, how would she cope? In this state, I couldn't comfort her. What would she do? Julian's face was a mask of concern. It must be about Ethan. He probably needs you. You should go, Clara. I'm used to being on my own. You don't want to make him angry. Clara's thumb hovered over the accept button. At his words, she decisively swiped to decline the call. Leo is with him, and so are the doctors. He's not going to die, she scoffed. Honestly, he's a grown man. Why is he so dramatic? She turned her attention back to Julian, her voice softening. You're the one who needs looking after with your heart condition. But she had promised. She had promised that no matter what, I would always be her priority. It hadn't always been like this. As the shy, sensitive girl transformed into the stunning, confident head of a corporation, men had flocked to her. An endless stream of handsome, successful suitors. But back then, she would always turn, find my hand in the crowd, and declare possessively, this is the man I love. None of you are even in his league. I couldn't help but wonder, how did we get here? How did a love so deep simply vanish? Looking at the two of them on the sofa, whispering and laughing together, I had my answer. Maybe she'd finally found someone who was in her league. A frantic, pounding fist on the front door shattered the cozy atmosphere. Julian clutched his chest, his face pale. You don't think. That's Ethan, do you? If it is perfect, Clara said coolly, getting up. You said you want to marry me. We'll have him sign the divorce papers right now. She spoke so casually, as if she hadn't been the one clinging to me just the day before, clutching our new marriage license, breathlessly saying she'd finally lock me down for good. One day, that's all it took for everything to change. But it couldn't be me at the door. I was already dead. Clara swung the door open. Standing there was my assistant, Leo, his eyes red and blazing with fury. Before she could even get a word out, he shoved her hard. Her back slammed against the custom-built alcove in the entryway we'd designed in the shape of a heart. In the next second, Leo's hands were wrapped around her throat. Clara, he roared, his voice cracking with grief. You killed him. I hope you rot in hell. Before Clara could process his words, Julian launched himself at Leo, his fists flailing weakly. Get off her. Leo, blind with rage, spun and kicked him. Julian went flying, landing in a pathetic heap on the floor. If anything happens to Julian, Clara shrieked, I'll make Ethan pay. My non-existent heart clenched. So that's what my life was worth to her. Less than a single hair on Julian's head. I never imagined that Leo, always so polite and gentle, would be this shattered by my death. He was an orphan I'd sponsored through college. He'd been so driven, and the moment he graduated, he came to work for me. Now, watching him fight for my honor, all I could feel was a deep sorrow, a desperate wish that he wouldn't throw his own life away for my sake. Thankfully, in the next moment, Leo released his grip on her neck. Tears streamed down his face, his voice choked with anguish. I can't believe what a waste it was, he sobbed. 10 years of his life, thrown away for a parasite like you. Clara, I truly hope you live a long, long time. I want you to be alive for the day you finally realize what you've done and it destroys you. Clara shoved him away, her lip curling in a sneer. You're just Ethan's little lapdog. Did he send you here to make a scene? You go back and tell him that the more he pulls these stunts, the more disgusting I find him. No need to tell me, Clara. I heard every word. I looked at her face, twisted with disgust and rage, and for the first time, I didn't recognize the woman I loved. Fine, Leo said, his voice suddenly calm and chilling. I'll be sure to pass that along to Mr. Hayes. To my surprise, Leo didn't tell her I was dead. Maybe it was for the best. I don't think I could have stood to see her face remain unmoved by the news. Or worse, to hear her say, with a triumphant, hateful satisfaction, good riddance. A look of understanding dawned on Clara's face. His tactics are getting more and more pathetic. On the floor, Julian, who had been playing dead, suddenly gasped and clutched his heart, groaning in pain. I could see it clearly from where I stood, the faint, triumphant smile on his lips before he contorted his face in agony. He was faking. But Clara couldn't see it. Her expression hardened instantly. She shot Leo a venomous glare. As of this moment, you are no longer an employee of the Sullivan Group. You're fired, and I'll make sure you're blacklisted. You will never work in this city again. With my help, the Sullivan Group had become the undisputed leader in its industry. A threat like that was a death sentence to Leo's career. She always knew exactly where to stick the knife to hurt me the most, just as I had always known exactly how to love her. I'm afraid you'll be disappointed, Ms. Sullivan, Leo said, a grim satisfaction in his voice. Mister, Hay signed over a portion of his shares to me. I'm a stockholder now. You don't have the authority to fire me. He took a step back toward the door. Also, I have one last message from him. He said a blind fool and a con artist are a perfect match. You two deserve each other. Just stay locked in your little world and leave him the hell alone. Eventually, building security escorted a still fuming Leo out. This time, Julian's act was so convincing he actually seemed to pass out from the stress. Clara let out a piercing scream. Any other time, I wouldn't have been able to bear seeing her so distressed. But my heart had been shredded by her words, by her willingness to let me pay. The pain was so absolute, I had nothing left to give. I followed Clara to the hospital, to Julian's room. Julian weakly clutched her hand. I think this is it for me, he whispered dramatically. After I'm gone, the debt is paid. You and Ethan can go back to being happy. Clara's lips were a thin, hard line. Don't be ridiculous. You saved my life once. I would never abandon you. But that wasn't enough for him. There aren't that many heart donors in the world. If I die this time, it's just my fate. It has nothing to do with Ethan. Please don't fight because of me. A cold glint appeared in Clara's eyes. He needs to pay for his mistakes. It's not like he could die anyway. A terrible premonition washed over me, but I still couldn't believe she would go that far. Then I saw the number she was dialing on her phone, and my world fell out from under me. It was my number. I watched as she called, again and again. Her initial calm, certainty, slowly curdled into frustrated rage. Damn it, who the hell does he think he is? She seethed. He's actually ignoring my calls? Julian lowered his eyes. It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, Ethan would never be this angry with you. Just as I thought it would go to voicemail again, the call connected. Clara didn't even wait for the person on the other end to speak. The words tumbled out of her in a furious rush. Ethan, stop playing these push and pull games. I know you still love me. If you agree to donate your heart to Julian, I won't divorce you. There was silence from the other end. She must have taken it as a silent refusal. I know you have that special ability. You can't die. Isn't one heart a fair price to keep me by your side? Her voice dropped, becoming a venomous threat. Of course, if you say no, I have plenty of ways to make your life a living hell. I remember how this works, she whispered, her words twisting the knife deeper. The less I love you, the more the system punishes you, right? A roar filled my head. I could see her lips moving, but I couldn't hear another word. When I first arrived in this world, this challenge, I found Clara. She was like a cornered animal, all sharp edges and desperate paranoia, starved for love. She'd been beaten half to death by a group of thugs, and I was the one who carried her to the hospital. I became her neighbor, her mentor, the older brother figure she never had. She followed me around like a little shadow. The moment her love for me hit 100%, completing my mission, I could have left. But the system had shown me her future trajectory. She would be acknowledged by her wealthy birth family, the Sullivans, only to be cast aside as an illegitimate daughter. She would be overshadowed by the family's golden child, the real daughter, and be welcomed by no one. She would suffer endless humiliation and torment until, in a final act of despair, she would burn the family mansion to the ground, taking them all with her. I couldn't let that happen. The system had warned me. No love remains at 100% forever. It's just a mission. Finish it and get out. Otherwise, it will not end well for you. But when Clara, sensing my impending departure, had tearfully begged me, please stay, please, I heard myself say yes. All the system's warnings vanished from my mind. That yes became 10 years. I helped her hone her instincts, taught her how to navigate the world, how to be strong. The outcast daughter who was supposed to be despised by her family rose up, seized control of the Sullivan Group from her own brother, and drove out the usurper who had made her life hell. I never imagined that one day she would use the very weapons I gave her to destroy her enemies against me. A voice, sharp with sarcasm, crackled through the phone. It was Leo, and here I was thinking you'd actually developed a conscience, Ms. Sullivan. I should have known. Your conscience was eaten by that sniveling dog of yours a long time ago. How dare you say something like that? I hope you get struck by lightning. I could hear the choked-back sob in his voice. Leo was fighting for me. He had been there for everything. He knew exactly what I'd done for her, and the more he knew, the more he despised her for it. Clara's brow furrowed. Where's Ethan? Put him on the phone. Put my ass on the phone. You call here one more time, and I swear to God, I'll take care of your little pet myself. The line went dead. Clara's face was a thundercloud. She hurled her phone against the wall, where it shattered into a dozen pieces. That was the phone I had given her. She used to love taking secret pictures of me with it, laughing like a cat who'd gotten the cream every time she succeeded. She'd said she was going to print them all out, make a scrapbook of our love, and we'd look through it on our golden anniversary. I transferred every photo we'd ever taken together onto that phone. And now it was broken. I never thought I'd be the one to leave first. I had prepared so little for her, so few things that she couldn't easily destroy. A doctor pushed the door open. We have good news. We found a heart donor. We can proceed with the surgery. The surgery was a success. I watched as my own body, now covered in surgical incisions, was wheeled away. I'd almost forgotten. Years ago, at a charity event, I had signed an organ donor card. It seemed that even in death, there was no escaping her orbit. In the waiting area, Clara fiddled with a brand new phone. She logged into her messaging app and pulled up our chat. The endless scroll of our history was now a stark, empty white screen. She had deleted everything. She began to type. Ethan, your anger has a limit. They found a heart for Julian. As soon as he's discharged, I'll come home to you. 1 minute passed. 2. The lack of a reply made her frown. I've already bent this far. What more do you want? I haven't even blamed you for leaving him to die, and you're giving me this silent treatment. Besides, with your special ability, it's just a heart. It's not like I'm asking for your life. I thought some small part of her might still care. I was wrong. To her, I was just some immortal monster. This special ability was a lie. A lie I told to comfort her after she was kidnapped by a business rival. When the attacker's knife came down, I threw myself in front of her. The blade sliced open my chest. Running on pure adrenaline, I tackled the man, and we both plunged from a high ledge. I was in surgery for 3 days and in the ICU for 2 months after that. The first thing I did when I woke up was tell a terrified Clara my secret. I have a system, I'd whispered. No matter what happens, I can't die. It was a desperate fabrication. After I chose to stay in her world, the system had withdrawn all support. For months, I was in so much pain I couldn't sleep. The wound reopened twice. I only survived through sheer, stubborn will, left with a permanent chill and a persistent cough. I hid all of it from her, terrified she would feel guilty. She massaged her temples, a telltale sign of her rising fury. Just then, her new phone rang. The caller ID read, National Donation Center. She answered immediately. Ms. Sullivan, this is just to confirm that your partner, Mr. Ethan Hayes, successfully donated a heart today. The recipient of the donation is... Ethan, is this really necessary? She snapped into the phone. Is the system in on this little drama too? If you want to be dead, then just die somewhere far away and stop bothering me. I guess she didn't want me to be alive. Well, congratulations to her. Her wish had come true. I really couldn't bother her anymore. She hung up, her anger still simmering. Not even the news of Julian's successful surgery could smooth the harsh lines on her face. Julian squeezed her hand, a wide, genuine smile finally spreading across his face. I can't believe I'm alive. After facing death, I realize I can't let you go. Clara, marry me. I'll make you happy. Clara didn't answer. Her knuckles were white where she gripped her phone, her expression growing darker by the second. She pulled her hand away and tucked the blanket around Julian. I'm going out to buy you some things you'll need for your stay. I'll be back soon. She was gone before he could reply, her footsteps hurrying down the hall as if running to put out a fire. I watched as her car sped through the city, turning into the familiar underground garage of our building. She came out holding a brand new Patek Philippe watch box, straightened her clothes, and headed for the elevator. The moment she stepped onto our floor, the smile she had plastered on her face froze. Our front door and the surrounding walls were covered in spray-painted slurs. Homwrecker, go die, mistress. The accusations were scrawled everywhere in angry red letters. Someone had dumped a bucket of sewage at the door, the stench filling the hallway. Some of it had even splashed onto the funeral wreaths that had been left there. Who did this? Clara's voice trembled. I was confused. Wasn't this what she wanted? An elderly woman from down the hall walked by, eyeing Clara with suspicion. You'd best stay away from this place, young lady. The man who lived there was a real piece of work. Tricked a poor girl into marrying him while he was sleeping with someone else. A real homewrecker. Who told you that? Clara's body was shaking. Who do you think? It's all over the news. A scumbag like that. And a CEO of a big company, too. Good thing he's dead. Can't hurt any more young women now. What you're saying is nonsense. Clara lunged forward and grabbed the woman's arm, her eyes wild and bloodshot. Who did you say is dead? The old woman, terrified, stammered the man. From this apartment. The tall, thin one. Ethan something. She ripped her arm away. They say karma caught up with him. The second his fiancée ran out on him, he dropped dead. Coughed up blood right on the spot. Clara stumbled back, nearly falling. The woman seized her chance and scurried away. Thrown off balance, Clara's body passed right through mine, and she tumbled down the flight of stairs. Blood soaked the collar of her expensive beige trench coat. A large gash opened on her forehead. She lay crumpled at the bottom of the stairs, looking up at the empty space where the woman had been. A tear slipped from her eye. I heard her whisper to herself, "Is this how helpless you felt, watching me walk away?" Helpless? I don't think I could remember what I felt at all. No, she muttered, a spark of frantic hope lighting her eyes. That's not right. He's a player. He hasn't finished the challenge. He can't be dead. She struggled to her feet, pulling herself up the railing. I followed her as she stumbled through the city to Leo's apartment. When he opened the door and saw the state she was in, he let out a cold, humorless laugh. What's the matter? Did your pet throw you out? Normally, a comment like that would have sent her into a rage. But now, she just grabbed the front of his shirt, her voice a desperate plea. Ethan's not dead, right? Tell me he's still alive. Please. In the next second, the hope in her eyes was shattered. You should be thankful he's dead, Leo snarled, his voice thick with contempt. Because the things you did were enough to kill him 1,000 times over. I didn't, Clara whispered, a reflexive denial. Leo laughed as if he'd just heard the world's greatest joke. You didn't? Weren't you the one who abandoned him at the altar in front of God and everyone? Weren't you the one who hinted to the press that he was a pathetic manipulator? Weren't you the one who let the story fester? Who specifically ordered our PR team not to take down a single negative story about him? Weren't you the one who screamed that you'd make him pay for what happened to your precious Julian? Weren't you the one who threatened him over and over, demanding he donate his heart to save your little dog? What? Are you going to tell me you didn't do any of that now? When you go to sleep at night, Clara, does any of this keep you awake? If I were Ethan, you, in that mud of yours, would have been dead a long, long time ago. You took advantage of him. You knew he loved you, so you pushed and pushed and pushed until you broke him. Now he's gone. So stop with this devoted act. It's disgusting. He shoved her away, and she crumpled to the floor as her wounds reopened. She stared at him, stunned, then crawled on her hands and knees to his feet. Please, she begged. I'm begging you. Just tell me where he is. Please. Leo threw a metal box at her. It burst open, and hundreds of white envelopes scattered across the floor. They were my letters. The ones I started writing the day I met her. I was a romantic, drawn to the old-fashioned idea of a time when love was slow and deliberate, when a lifetime was only enough to love one person. I poured all my thoughts, all my love, onto those thin sheets of paper. I had hoped to share a lifetime with her. It was a shame everything had to end so abruptly. He wrote these, Leo said, his voice flat and dead. Read them. See everything he did for you. You don't deserve to see him, Clara. Not ever. Live with your regret for the rest of your life. The door slammed shut. Clara, who had always been so meticulous about her appearance, was now covered in blood and grime. She wiped her hands on her coat again and again, as if preparing for a sacred ritual, before she began to pick up the letters, one by one. She knelt there on the floor and read. She read from day into night. There were 3,650 letters in total. The last one was dated the day before our wedding. The words on the page were practically bouncing with joy. Tomorrow's the big day. We're already legally married, but I'm still so nervous. Clara always said she was jealous of that rival company's wedding dress campaign. She has no idea I designed one for her myself that's 100 times more beautiful. The thought of how gorgeous she'll look in it makes the last 6 months of sleepless nights totally worth it. I have to say, Leo, for a young guy, acts like a little old man. He's always nagging me to take my medicine. It's so bitter it makes my tongue go numb. I hate it. But then I remember if I don't take it, my cough will come back, and if Clara finds out, she'll cry. The best part of today was when Clara said she loved the house I designed. Of course she does. I'm Ethan Hayes, master designer. She also said she'd never let me down in this lifetime. Silly girl. She's the one who's always been insecure. I'm the one who should be promising not to let her down. Tomorrow, I get to marry my Clara. I'm too excited to sleep. Come on, son, hurry up and rise. I have to go marry my girl. I watched Clara laugh and cry over the pile of letters. Her perfect makeup a ruined mess. What was she crying for? She had disregarded my life countless times. She'd had endless opportunities to learn the truth, to confirm my death. But she had been completely focused on Julian, showering him with all her care. She wasn't crying for me. She was crying because now there was no one left to absolve her. There was no way to explain herself, to receive my forgiveness. And without it, she could never move on. Suddenly, as if remembering something, she frantically scrolled through her phone and dialed a number. It was the donation center. After she hung up, the final, crushing truth settled over her. I was really, truly dead, and my organs had been donated to people in need. And my heart was now beating inside Julian's chest. I wondered, with a strange, detached curiosity, what she would do now. The moment Julian saw Clara at the hospital, he lunged for her. Clara, God! Emus/M. He flinched as if a wound had been touched and quickly hid his arm behind his back. What happened to you? Clara's eyes were chips of ice. But Julian, oblivious to the danger in her voice, continued his performance. It was Ethan, he whispered, his voice a study in feigned reluctance. He didn't mean it. He loves you so much. He couldn't stand the thought of me being with you. It's nothing really. I got a few stitches. I'll be fine in a few days. Please, Clara, whatever you do, don't be angry with him. I watched a storm gather behind Clara's eyes and sighed for my non-physical existence. Of all the things he could have said, he chose to frame a dead man for assault. The lie was clumsy, pathetic. But some lies, no matter how shoddy, always find an audience willing to believe and a director willing to stage the play. Completely unsuspecting, Julian beamed. Thank you, Clara. You're the best. When Julian next awoke, he was strapped to a surgical table in a soundproofed basement. Terror finally dawned on his face. Clara? What is this? What are you doing? Clara's response was a sharp slap that echoed in the sterile room. Julian, the person who saved me in that alley all those years ago. It was never you. You stole that from Ethan. Julian shook his head frantically. What? No, that's impossible. Clara, did Ethan say something to you? Did he lie to you to make you misunderstand? Her hand flew again, another stinging slap. Don't you dare drag his name through the mud. He's dead. The letter he left explained everything. Her voice was low, trembling with rage. You knew I was just testing him, trying to see if he really loved me. Why did you have to frame him? Why did you spread those rumors? The feigned panic on Julian's face dissolved, replaced by a cold, mocking grin. You didn't trust his love for you. You were the fool, Clara. All I did was add a little fuel to the fire, and you walked right into it. He laughed, a chilling sound. Anyone could see Ethan Hayes loved you more than life itself. Anyone but you. You're the one who killed him. You deserve this. Ha ha ha. Clara grabbed him by the collar of his shirt, her eyes bloodshot. Why? Why would you do all this? Julian stared back at her, his expression twisted with a deep, burning hatred. Why? Because you killed Sarah? You owe her a life. The name hung in the air, a ghost between them. If you hadn't come back to the Sullivans, Sarah and I would have been married. You stole her life. You stole our future. You made me suffer, so I decided to make you suffer more. He strained against his restraints, his voice a venomous hiss. What does it feel, Clara, to lose the one person you love forever? Clara froze. Sarah, the girl her parents had adopted after she, their biological daughter, had gone missing as a child. When Clara had finally returned to the family, Sarah had been all smiles and sweet words, calling her sister to her face while setting traps for her behind her back. In the end, evidence of Sarah's manipulations had come to light, and she'd been cast out of the Sullivan family. She died in a car accident within a year. But what did any of that have to do with her? The marriage proposal from Julian's family wasn't something she wanted. The Kensingtons had been desperate to forge an alliance with the Sullivan Group, impressed by her business acumen. From the very beginning, she had only ever wanted one person. Ethan. Clara's control snapped. She struck him again, a brutal final slap. If you wanted revenge, you should have come for me. Why did you touch Ethan? Why did you drag him into this? Julian spat a mouthful of bloody saliva onto the floor and laughed. Because he was always in my way. Without him, do you really think you'd still be alive? After you were kidnapped that time, he was on me like a rabid dog, sniffing around, refusing to let go. I couldn't risk being exposed, so I had to make sure he was gone for good. His eyes gleamed with triumph. I just never thought it would be so easy. A few whispers in your ear and you were gone, leaving him to literally die of a broken heart. Ha ha ha. How does it feel, Clara, to know you killed a man you love with your own hands? Her vision swam with red. She lunged, her hands closing around his throat. Shut up. I'm going to kill you. Kill me. Julian rasped, his face purpling. He's still not coming back. And Clara, he never wants to see you again for the rest of eternity. Those words struck her like a physical blow, dissolving the strength from her bones. She staggered back, the reality crashing down on her. She had truly, irrevocably lost the man whose entire world had once been her. In that moment of stunned horror, Julian, with a strength born of desperation, twisted his wrist and freed one hand. He'd somehow palmed a scalpel from a nearby tray. He broke his other restraint and lunged, aiming the blade directly at Clara's throat. "Go to hell, Clara Sullivan." It all happened in an instant. Clara stared, frozen, as the gleaming tip of the scalpel raced toward her. A strange sense of relief washed over her, a dark welcome for the end. Just as the cold steel was about to break her skin, Julian gasped. He clutched his chest, a look of agony on his face, and collapsed to the floor. He never moved again. The medical team rushed in, their voices a blur of urgent activity. "This is bizarre," one of the doctors said later, looking at a tablet. "Mr. Kensington's heart transplant was a complete success. There are no signs of rejection, but his new heart just failed spontaneously. It's as if someone just switched it off." Clara, who had been sitting numbly in a chair, shot to her feet. "It was you," she whispered to the empty air. "Ethan, it was you, wasn't it? You came back to save me. I knew it." She was giving me too much credit. "I was simply worried that my one good deed, saving a murderer from his original fate, would stain my soul with some kind of negative causality. I pleaded with the system to intervene. I never imagined she would spin it into a romantic fantasy. What I didn't expect was for her to become utterly convinced of it. In the days that followed, she began a horrifying campaign to summon me. Small cuts and bruises would appear on her body, then deeper ones, all in an effort to force my hand, to make me appear and save her again. She became a regular in the emergency room. It got so bad that the police were called for wellness checks, and there was talk of an involuntary psychiatric hold. Finally, Leo had enough. He stormed into her apartment and slapped her hard across the face. "If you're so determined to die, then do it. But don't you dare tarnish Ethan's name in the process," he roared, his voice raw with grief and fury. "This self-indulgent pity party is pathetic. If you want to make things right, then show some damn integrity. Don't you dare act like your life is more important than his reputation." Leo's words were the shock she needed. After that, something in Clara shifted. She pulled herself together, at least partially. She called a press conference and told the world the unvarnished truth about the wedding, about Julian's lies and manipulations. As expected, the tide of public opinion turned with a vengeance. The online mob that had vilified Ethan now turned on Clara, calling her mentally unstable, and on Julian, branding him as sociopathic homewrecker. The stock of both the Sullivan Group and the Kensington Family Corporation plummeted. The Kensingtons, facing financial ruin, publicly disowned their dead son. Across the internet, a wave of apologies was directed at my memory. People started virtual candlelight vigils and trending hashtags. Hashtag Justice for Ethan. Clara signed her entire stake in the Sullivan Group over to Leo. Her parents, furious, screamed at her, calling her an ungrateful disgrace before finally disowning her. Later, she found the wedding dress, the one Julian had slashed to ribbons. She took it to the most renowned couturier in the world, begging him to fix it. He told her it was impossible. The dress, he explained, was a masterpiece of design and execution. The silk organza had been woven in a bespoke lover's knot pattern, a technique so intricate and symbolic that even he, a master of his craft, couldn't hope to repair it. Later, she hired the best data recovery specialist to try and restore the photos from shattered hard drive that had held our memories. It was a lost cause. The visual record of our life together was gone. The photo album she promised to make remained empty. The medical center, following my final instructions, had my battered body cremated. My ashes were scattered into the Atlantic. When Clara found out, she collapsed, her hands covering her face as she sobbed. "Ethan, you must hate me so much. You didn't even leave me your body to mourn." Her own health, already fragile, shattered. Ignoring all advice, she barricaded herself inside our penthouse, our home. The place had been ransacked by Julian, a wreck of broken furniture and shattered glass. She wandered through the ruins, searching for something, anything. The only trace of our life she could find was in a corner of a torn curtain, where the custom Cine monogram had been embroidered. The E was gone, ripped away. Only a single, lonely S remained, fluttering in the draft from a broken window. She pulled bottle after bottle from the wine cellar. Soon, empty bottles littered the floor around her feet. Through the drunken haze, she remembered something I had told her long ago, a lifetime ago. "Clara, if you ever betray me, I think it would actually kill me. So I'm betting my life on you. Are you brave enough to show me your heart? Her gaze slowly focused on a fruit knife in a bowl on the floor. She picked it up, and she brought it down, again and again. The pristine white of her silk blouse bloomed with crimson, but she seemed not to feel it. Ethan, she whispered, her voice a broken rasp. I'm giving you my heart. Please, come back and look at it. Please. Clara, my voice echoed. Not in the room, but in the space between worlds. It's too late. Nothing can go back to the way it was. May we never meet again, in this life or any other. The system had released my voice from its constraints for that one final message. As the last word faded, my consciousness began to dissolve from this reality. According to the system, it had secured me a premium benefits package. Complete 100 challenges, free of charge, and I could avoid erasure. That's one hell of a raw deal, I thought. But I'm in. If I had the chance to live, why wouldn't I take it? Clara heard my voice. A final, desperate madness seized her. She clawed at the empty air. No, please, don't leave me. Her words tumbled out, frantic and incoherent. I was just scared. I thought you didn't get angry because you didn't love me. I never meant to hurt you. I was wrong. Ethan, I love you. I love you. Her voice choked off. Her mouth was open, her face a mask of agony as the life left her. To the very end, she never saw my face again. The end of story.